Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight. We only speak to transportation professionals on any content that I do, whether it's this show or my twice-a-week long-form podcast that we drop. We only speak to transportation professionals, ladies and gentlemen. That is all we are here to do, to give you information that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business, in your life. It's one of the many reasons why I proudly fly this American flag behind me every single day is A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you guys live your American dream as well, because there's no playbook to entrepreneurship. Unlike what some of these fuckers try and post online about just follow these steps and everything else, there's a lot to learn out there, and you need to get the information from the people who are actively doing the work and who have been through market shifts and downturns and all of this stuff. Because does it guarantee you success? No, it does not guarantee you success, but it does provide you with quality information by people who have done the job and not theorized about the job. I got some articles to break down. We're going to do a solo show today. Yeah, I got freight moving. I got stuff going on because, again, I'm in the trenches with you guys, and we are going to make some stuff happen. But before I do that, you guys, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time. And the best part about what VHub has to offer, especially to all my driver friends and my small fleets out there, you get paid to move these trailers for them. So talk about a great way to offset some of the costs of fuel and rising repair bills and everything else. So with what they're working on right now, you guys, is with these ones, there are some reefers available in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and down in Mason City, Iowa. They need to get these over to Mississauga, Ontario, which is just outside of Toronto. Go over to their website and put your offer in on what you would need to move that trailer for them. They also have Milton, Ontario to Moncton, New Brunswick for 400 Canadian. They have Winnipeg, Manitoba to Vaughan, Ontario for 500 Canadian. And then finally, they got a van out in Paragould, Arkansas, needing to go to Orting, Washington, and you get $1,550 to move that trailer. That's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading that trailer out. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. My friends Xavier Campos and Stacy Steen, they'll be in the audience. Just do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Zach Williams, let's fucking go. He's with SPI Logistics, you guys. You guys want to become an independent freight agent and take control of your financial future? Hit up my man, Zach. Louis Montano, what's up, brother? He says, good morning. It's a great day to get customers. Amen to that. Angel Garvin, good morning. Thanks for joining. Tim Robinson, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. All right, you guys. And with this being a solo show, we are going to do a lane analysis here. I choose random cities out there. And we just kind of teach people how to read freight markets, develop the consistencies. What are the inconsistencies? What stands out to us? And how can we provide more consistent pricing to our customers with all of this? So we are going to actually choose my old stomping grounds, Reno, Nevada. And I call it Nevada because it pisses everyone from Nevada off. Reno, Nevada, going to Phoenix, Arizona, flatbed. This is currently at $2.83 a mile to the truck. And this one, if you're just pulling out, I like to go all the way out to a 90-day freight cycle. I like to see what the last 90 days look like because it's going to have some form of consistency in there. You're going to be able to find those outliers like holidays and other things that can kind of throw in a change in how you're going to price this out. So if we scale this all the way back to the 90-day, we're at $270 a mile. It increased to $276 a mile at the 60-day mark. It was up to $280 a mile at the 30-day mark. And again, you can see that the last 30 days included a holiday and everything else. And then it is currently on the rise still. It's at $2.83 a mile. So looking at this and knowing how this lane operates, because this was part of my little triangle of death that I used to run, and I used to call it that, where I would really only move freight outbound Reno down to LA, over to Phoenix, and back up to Reno. It was only open deck freight, and that is what I really only handled. And a lot of those, and I did that because there's not a lot of seasonality on those lanes for flatbed from what I found out there. Like, yes, the summer months you're going to see a price increase. And a lot of that has to do that it's 110 fucking degrees here in Phoenix, and tarping loads, drivers don't want to do that all that much. So again, that fluctuates and affects the pricing and everything. But this lane isn't really going to budge above that for the foreseeable future. And that is one that I would feel very confident in locking in some decent pricing with it. And long-term pricing, because this lane holds firm probably until mid to late April and maybe into early May, depending on what weather they are having up there in Reno. So again, you guys, it's looking for that consistency. It's looking for those outliers that are in those markets. That's why data is so key, because you need to be able to position yourself with this to help out, provide long-term pricing to your customers. Because if you're out there bidding on the spot market, which a lot of people are, and I understand that, that's how you really get in the door and start working with freight on that. But again, you want to find out, how do you get those spot market lanes into a soft contractual agreement with the customer? And a lot of them will be a lot more open to it if you're able to find them some consistent pricing that you can get on those lanes. I abide by that currently, and I abide by that in my past lives as well as sales reps, and really bringing that consistency to my customers time and time again. Let me see here. We got Papa Bear in a chair, says, let's fucking go, gang, over on YouTube. It's my man Patrick Provance. He said he decided to switch over from YouTube. He got a meeting today by sending a video of my lip syncing "Hello" by Adele because he went. Oh, dude, that is, dude, Patrick, that's funny. That is funny. Yeah, I think that, again, you guys, there's talking about the sales process, and I think that, and I think I'm going to start doing this on, and not I think I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to put in my shows. Because what I used to do is I used to do daily segments every single day where I'd post a video out there to social media. We had Mindset Monday, Training Topic Tuesday, Weather the Storm Wednesday, Thursday Thought Topic, and Friday Freight Tip. And as I've grown stuff out, fortunately, my businesses have grown and my time is invested in other areas. And I'm going to do this live show every single day, no matter what. So I'm going to start baking it into there, because again, and I talk about that, anything that I apply in my current brokerage, and in my past life, I talk about it on here, because again, I'm not withholding any information. With that being said, if you guys have any questions, DM me. If they're sales and operations related to transportation, DM me. I'll answer them live on here. And if I don't get any DMs, what I'll do is I'll just talk about a scenario, because again, there's very real things. You'll see this on social media. It's easy to sit there and talk about the fucking wind and the chest bumping and everything else. Like, oh, bro, just make these calls and all this other. But what do you do if something goes wrong? One of the articles I'm going to break down here first is talking about cargo theft. Cargo theft is a very real issue. But what do you do if you have a load stolen? What do you do if there's damages to your product in transit? How do you handle those situations? And that there's a lot of that fundamental information that is missing from the social media universe out there, because frankly, a lot of them don't know. But we're going to do that. And, so like, again, I was Weather the Storm Wednesday. So I'm going to talk about that. What do you do if there's an insurance issue, if there's damage to the load? Always request pictures. All right. Request pictures of the product that is damaged. Request pictures of the bill of lading. Get the person's name who is rejecting said product. Don't just send a picture of their signature. Get their actual name and physically write that out and send that information over. Because as you initiate a claims process or notify your customer of this, because again, a lot of this freight that might get damaged in transit you need to notify your customer of that, who's not on site. Those are questions that they're always going to answer. So you can't necessarily go to your customer and be like, hey, there's damage, I'll let you know. It's have an actual plan in place for when this stuff happens. Pictures are always the first thing that I would say. Picture of the BOL that lists out the damages that are on why the product is being rejected. Get the name clearly of the individual who is rejecting that load. And then we need to provide that information, because the customer is going to let us know what they want us to do with that product. Okay. If, I've seen it if they just want it brought to a disposal facility. I've seen it where you want it donated. I've also seen it where you have to bring it back to the shipper in those instances and bring it back to the customer. So again, those are those little things and scenarios that you're going to need to do and deal with, but definitely always pictures, name of the person, BOL, the reason why it's being rejected, and our customer will generally advise us on how they want us to dispose of the product. All right. So first article we're going to break down. And as always, you guys, I list, I'll provide the links to all the articles I break down over on YouTube, as well as the audio only replay of this over on iTunes and Spotify, which is uploaded almost immediately after the show. And if you guys do go over to those platforms, do your boy a solid, subscribe and share, rank the show. If you think I gave 5-star effort and 5-star information, hit that 5-star out there, you guys, and share the show, because if you guys see value, your network's going to see value in this as well. All right, first article, fleetowner.com. Cargo theft continues to rise. Experts advise on prevention and spotting fraud. Here's a great one you can do with that. Carrier Assure. My friend Cassandra Gaines. She's not paying me to say this, but I really appreciate Cassandra and her product that she has in Carrier Assure. And she's also hiring right now as well. So if you guys want to get in touch with her, send her a DM, or you know what, send me a DM and I can put you in, and I will put you guys in contact with that, because again, she's got a great product out there and everything. Shippers and carriers should be vigilant, as new data shows a 2022 was an increase in cargo theft from the year prior, and experts indicated it's a trend that shows no sign of slowing down. Theft Prevention and Recovery Network, CargoNet, has reported that almost 1,800 theft claims were made by its members last year, an increase of 15%, which saw fewer than 1,300 incidents. You're coming out of 2022 with severe momentum. Said Scott Cornell, a transportation lead in crime and theft specialist at Travelers, adding that the data has been headed in this direction for several quarters. The amount of stuff that's going on right now, it's just fast, very intense, very frequent. And yeah, here's a good stat. And I'm actually going to share my screen here because I want you guys to be able to see this off of the article that I'm breaking down. I don't know if you guys can see this stat right here, but again, 1,778 theft reports, top targeted location types. Number 1 was warehouse and distribution centers. And then number 2 was parking lots. Top 3 targeted states, obviously California, Texas, Florida. Those are always like the top 3, I swear. And then commodities, household goods, and electronics. Those are always the 2. And those generally seem to be the ones as well that are the top. But I've also seen, again, you got to look at it from like a street value perspective as well. Sometimes you got to think like a criminal. I've done a lot of high value beverages. They're easy to offload and everything else out there. So there's things that you need to implement. But, again, we'll talk about that here in a second. Truck stops, because it did change, because they said truck stops were the highest targeted risk area in 2021, followed by warehouses. And now in 2022, warehouses took the top spot. Danny Ramone, intelligence and response manager at Overhaul, noted an increase in high value pilferages when cargo is stolen from a trailer as opposed to the trailer itself being stolen. It used to be 10% of the cargo. Now we're seeing upwards of 90%. And, again, I always look, so like you see videos of it and I see videos of it as well, as like people are just popping trailers at like Amazon, for example. And I just saw a video of it yesterday. There's like 15, 20 people and they're just fucking throwing boxes out the back of these things. All right. So on to what are cargoes, thieves stealing and where? It's been a rise in strategic theft. My mind always, if it's strategic theft, it means that there's an insider, in my opinion, who works at that distribution center, who's feeding this information to the criminals. Let's see. When thieves use fraudulent or stolen carrier or driver identities to book and steal loads. Strategic theft has also been historically the most prominent in Southern California. Shameless plug to Broker Carrier. Our platform identifies all double brokers for the most part. And you guys will have a severely reduced risk of utilizing that with our platform, as well as Carrier Assure. One of the things we're starting to see is a long-term trend, which is a shift of strategic and fraudulent thefts. Moving to the East Coast and more eastern states, we've seen it start in Indiana and Illinois. The increase in shipping container traffic to the eastern states as cargo theft follows density. Another factor making those our riper target is that because they don't traditionally see much strategic theft, many shippers and brokers out east do not vet their carriers as thoroughly. Due to the increase in strategic theft, the importance of, obviously carrier vetting. I can't believe that this is that there's people out there who don't vet their carriers that they're working with. But anyways, the numbers are extremely important, but pay attention to more of the trends, the commodities, the locations. The golden rule for cargo theft is you're going to steal what they can sell. Yes. Household goods. Okay. So in my experience out there, you guys, when it comes down to this, if you are working, like, how are you vetting your carriers first and foremost? Because again, I just released a podcast about this the other day where there's fucking, again, like brokers are out there, like, here's where it picks, here's where it delivers, this is what it pays. Then they just blankly run an MC. They're like, oh, this looks good enough. And then they assign the load. Again, you need to have a conversation with these people. You need to ask them just as many questions as they're going to ask you. I mean, your livelihood fucking depends on it, you guys. Again, I have a very detailed 8-step process that I follow every single time I book a carrier on a shipment. We are vetting them, just like I expect a carrier to vet me in those instances as well. Because this double brokering thing that you see out there doesn't just, like, it affects a lot of people in this. And, especially when it comes down to high value shipments. All right. Like, what are you doing to vet these carriers? What are you doing to ensure that that is the person that is going to be hauling the shipment? Like, this is why I will never, ever outsource insurance monitoring. This is why, as a broker, I will always call the insurance provider and verify fucking everything because of this stuff. There are a lot of bad actors out there, but you guys, I mean, just reading this in this article, we make it fucking so much harder on ourselves than we need to. I get it. Y'all want to flex, get a fucking couple of Benjamins, get $1,000 ripper under load and go fucking to the bar early and everything else. I get it. But your customer's freight is on the line here, your livelihood. I mean, this shit's just not a game to me. This is how I provide for my family. I take this stuff very seriously. Like, look into it. And then especially for high value goods, I know there's a lot of shippers out there that have security measures in place that you must abide by to haul their freight. But I think that, you need to look into that. If you're not vetting your carriers, if you're not asking very detailed questions about transit and everything else, you need to start. You really need to start on that. And then it talks about how people can protect their cargo. Drivers must travel through high-risk areas. They should plan their route not to stop in danger zones that are out there. And then, again, they released an article of like the top 10 cities and everything. And I think, again, for me, if you're going to protect it, and following, where are they going to be storing the freight? Like, I have loads that pick on them Friday and deliver on a Monday, and the driver's going to go home for the weekend. I need to know where that freight's going to be sitting at. Yes, if the driver's on tracking, but sometimes they separate from the trailer and they drive their truck home and their trailer's sitting there. Where is their trailer sitting? Where is my customer's product? Is it in a gated facility? Get the address, get all of that information, take it multiple steps forward. Yeah. And it's also fraudulent pickup. Again, this is always if it's going to go on the rail, they use this load, for example, California, that it picks up in a day cab, which, can't go over the road. And nobody's asking questions like, how are you driving this to Florida and stuff like that. That one kind of stuck out as something funny to me. And it goes through a lot of these scenarios. This is a really good article, you guys. And if you're out there, whether you're a carrier or a broker, you need to read this article, and this will help set you up in the long term. It really will. And it will set you up for success because they give off some pretty good ideas out there. And these are ideas that you need to abide by because theft out there is a massive, massive problem. Again, you want to really help that out, hit up my friend Cassandra with Carrier Assure. Again, I don't make any money for promoting her product, but she's a friend of mine and she's got a really solid product. And when it comes down to double brokering, I'm going to always shamelessly plug my product over at Broker Carrier, because we have inside of our proprietary capacity management platform, we got something for you guys to protect you against these double brokers that are out there. So that article, you guys, fleetowner.com. And this is talking about cargo theft as it continues to rise and what experts advise on prevention and spotting fraud. Again, you guys check that article out. It's going to help you out exponentially. Patrick Provan says, when you have damaged, rejected product, who is on the line for transportation to a disposal facility? Generally, it's the carrier. They'll leave the product on the trailer. So if it needs to go to a disposal facility, the carrier will transport it over there. You're going to have to negotiate on that more times than not, and get that done. But if it's going to a rework facility, I've had carriers who just do it and bring it back and get offloaded and they go about their day. But those are things that you're going to want to work out with your customer. Patrick, if you've had this happen before, definitely get a certificate of disposal for the product. The customer is going to request that. But if they don't get that, and then put that information over there from an insurance purpose, and then again, you might have to work out with your carrier on what they need to bring that over there. I've had some carriers who are like, just tell me where I need to bring it, and then they drop it off and move on about their day. It's a case-by-case basis. But if it was decided that it was no fault of the driver, which is rare, because they always kind of like to blame it on that. But you'll find yourself in a situation where, it's just for a fee, and then you just go and offload it and move on with your day. Benedict Rank. Love that name. Quick question. What's the best communication channel to let customers know issues arise? Is there a way to help customers deal with the fallout faster? Yes. Pick up the phone, call them right away and let them know about what's going on. Don't have it be like a boy who cried wolf scenario though. Definitely go there with a plan in place. Again, if there's damaged goods, I would, again, have the pictures already ready. I would notify of them and let them know. If it's like early in the morning, for example, I would let them know, just be like, hey, the driver just notified me that there's 5 pallets that are being rejected due to damage. I am getting pictures. I am getting the name of the person who's doing this. I'll get you a picture of the BOL as well, and I will send that over to you via email. I always pick up the phone in these situations. I don't ever hide behind an email when something's going wrong. I want to be in front of them and let them know what is happening in those moments. Unless you've discussed prior with the carrier or the customer, what is their procedure? Because some customers have an SOP that they want you to follow when there is damaged goods, Benedict. I've had that with high value and high volume shippers that have an RFP. They actually have a clause inside of their agreement that states how they need to be notified when there is damage and to the extent of it and everything. So look in your contracts with some of your customers. It should be listed out in there, man. Cameron Lisk, good morning. And Louis says, driving in the road, I see and I know a lot of carriers. I won't give them anything because they are in stolen freight. Yeah, man, dude, you kind of see that time and time again. The more and more that you do in this industry, you can kind of see it. And, carriers say the same thing about brokers too. They know which brokers are fraudulent and which ones are not fraudulent in their way of doing things. All right. So, second article, freight waves. Transportation metrics show early signs of firming in January. Logistics Manager Index showed transportation prices contracted at a slower pace out there and registered a reading of 42 in January. A level above 50 shows contraction, which shows signals of expansion. The January change rate for prices that was closest to break even in the 3 months and a 5.1 percentage points higher in December. However, the index still sits near 2-year lows. Transportation utilization was up 8.9 points. The transportation metrics remain down from where they were in late 2020 to early 22. Obviously, they are down from that because that was a massive spike in volume that was out there. But we do see some encouraging signs, the report said. Truckload, let's see that the floor has happened. I think that the floor has already passed, and I think that we're going to already on a rise out there. Tender rejections and spot rates are down. Obviously, it's volume out there as a whole. Typically, January and February are the slowest months. That's why you see spot rates not really climbing yet, but that will come. Tender rejections will come. You will see headlines probably from this very news source, that article we're breaking down, that tender rejections are rising. What is going on? Tender rejections reaching an all-time high. I'm sure you'll see that later this year because that's what's going to happen. You guys, that's what's going to happen as the market starts to tick up. We've talked about that extensively on this show on where it's going to go. Inventories are much lower now. Obviously, what's going on with that? And then what's going to happen is that inventory is going to need to get replenished, probably not to the high levels that it was, but inventory levels will be replenished. And that is going to breathe life back into the spot market because, the way that the contract for the most part works is the rates that you submit. You're supposed to honor them, as we all know, but we all know what happens with that. And again, any additional loads on top of that, some customers are going to reach out to their top providers and be like, hey, this is a brand new lane for us. We have a new customer that we've established. Can you contract this? Or they throw it out to the spot market to see where the spot market's at and see what is the most cost-effective way for them to move. So again, there's going to be more opportunities that are going to come with that. Talking about 2023 return to normal, and inventories are going to climb and everything else. Warehouse utilization is in firm growth mode, which again, warehousing is always going to be at a premium here for a little bit, I think. The forward-looking expectation out there, hold on. In fact, upstream firms can expect significant expansion. And yeah, again, it was some good information in the article that can help you kind of predict on where things are going. And you could also tune into the show every single weekday because I tell you unfiltered how things are going out there in the market based off of the data that I look at, the data sources that I compile, and the information and what I feel in the market from my current freight that I'm currently moving over there at Freight Coach Logistics. And, we're going to continue to talk about all this stuff day in and day out, you guys, because again, what you're going to see if you've never operated in this market. And I was, Ken Adamo with my friend who was on yesterday from DAT. We were talking about this is the average life cycle of most freight brokers is like 2 years, 2 years or less is kind of the experience level. So a lot of you out there who are listening to this show, you might not have experienced how this freight market's going to work. And we're going to go through day in and day out and help you guys navigate through this stuff. Because, market shifts aren't immune. A lot of the data that you see, a lot of the alarmist style headlines that you read out there don't actually provide the how do you deal with this stuff. And that's why I do this show. That's why I do my podcast is I talk to transportation professionals who are in the day-to-day, and we go through a lot of this information for you guys to see a difference in your business. But we're only going to get 2 articles for today. I don't have time to break down the third because I got some stuff going on that I got to jump over to. Here, you guys, again, I'm in the day-to-day. I'm building this up with you. I'm going through the hardships, the rejections, all of that stuff. I go through that every single day with you guys. So again, if you guys have any questions, sales or operations related for transportation, DM me, drop them in the comments. I'll get notified of them and I'll answer them live on the show. But that's it for today. And as always, you guys, if you guys saw value, share the show, subscribe, share the show if you saw value in it, because if you guys see value in it, your network will as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.